Hello, hello. Hope everybody's well. Everyone is well tonight. So let's have a look if everything is working okay. Hello, hello. So just if anybody is there, because I can see like people are coming on to the live training. So if you can just type in the chat box that you can see the slides and hear me, because last time the sound fell out, and so I was talking away and nobody could really hear me. So and that was something that I was thinking like, okay, I have to check the next time I do this straight away. So making sure that people actually just yeah, can hear me. So but perfect, thank you, Nathan. Brilliant. So we'll wait a couple of more minutes for people to actually start coming in. And I have, in the meantime, I have a question for the guys that are comfortable saying something in the chat box. Is this the first time you do a live training or an online training? Because I'm always curious to see if people are used to this or if it's just like the first time you ever do an online training like this format. And just like experience a little bit like, okay, can I benefit from this basically? So let me know in the chat box if it's the first time or if you actually like have done online trainings before and that you actually know a little bit about how it works and how you can benefit from it. So perfect. Brilliant. So, and also I'm keen to know if anybody knows who I am or and how they actually found out about the training, if it was through Facebook, if they have been on my webinar before, or if they have been on my list or know me when I was a recruitment consultant. Thanks, Nathan. Love the participation. Brilliant. Because it is interesting for me actually also to know like where people actually get to hear from me, because I'm trying so many different avenues to actually get my voice out there, and so it's good for me to see what's working, what's not working, and so on. So type that, but in the meantime, we actually will kick off the training because I know your time is very precious, and so yeah, I want to take maximum advantage of all of that. So this training is really made for people who are feeling stuck struggling to find the right words, or they know that what they can bring to the table, but they can't put that down on paper, and they're really frustrated because they make a million zillion changes, but they're not getting any interviews or any results. And that can be like one of the main struggles that I see people have, is like there's so much online advice out there, and it's so difficult to actually cut it down and what's relevant to you, and to understand what makes difference it makes. So today, in this masterclass, I'm going to show you exactly how you can achieve all of this by making really some changes. So like how to get hiring managers read your resume, because they're very time poor. You need to grab their attention. How to stand out from equally qualified candidates, because it's a very competitive job market out there, and it's so important to actually really like differentiate yourself. And how do you do that? How to get, of course, more interviews, and most importantly, what people often forget is how to get paid your worth, because people often say, I'm looking for a job, money is not important, but you have certain skills and experience that you have built up over the years, and it justifies a certain salary. And when you actually go down a salary level with less experience, and even though you have more to offer, it doesn't really justify who you are and what you have built up. So it's also making sure that you have an resume that articulates clearly the caliber of candidate you really are. So basically, like I said, in this class today, I'm going to teach you all of this, and if it's not clear, you have the chat box. You have to let me know what actually like is not clear, and I will answer to the best of my ability, or repeat it, or put it in a different way. And you will also learn how to implement actually all the changes, because I've seen so many trainings and advice that is not really practical. And so my mission basically is to give as many people as possible, as many as professionals as possible, to teach them the right framework, because it isn't that difficult. You just have to know what the rules of the game is before you start playing it. So there are one main question that I have for you, and that is, I hope you're ready to commit, and that you actually are open to make those changes, because people like to make excuses, and I see it all the time. The clients that say like, yes, Caroline, but my situation is different. I have a gap in my resume, or I have been at the same organization for 10 years. I can promise you it is not different, because everybody has their own story. It's very rare that you see people in one organization with the same story, but people struggle telling their story on their resume, and often they don't understand how important their resume is. And even though a resume is just the beginning and the foundation, it's actually the start of everything else. Because if you have your resume, and if you are understanding what you have committed to and wrote, and the promise you made on your resume, then actually the interview will be very easy to you, because you can talk to your resume, and then actually you're very confident in what you have to offer, because you have gone through the process of really stopping and thinking about, actually, what have I done for so many years, and what have I really achieved? So, and that is what I want to do. I want to actually give you the confidence and the ability to actually write a resume that reflects all that, and with the right framework you will absolutely be able to do that. So you'll know the exact changes you need to make to actually create that resume. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. And for me, a resume is not just a piece of paper that's a necessary evil. For me, it is a representation of not unique in the world anymore, but you are. You have certain skills that you have used in a certain moment in time with certain stakeholders, and that combination makes it unique. And not a lot of people can bring that out in their resume. Most resumes look generic, cliche, and generic. So it's really like bringing that out, and I'm going to show you what the how you can do that. Basically, hope that all sounds good. So a couple of housekeeping things. So no multitasking. Close the door. Try to isolate yourself. Grab pen and paper. Ask as many questions as you have, because there is a chat box for a reason, because you never or almost never get feedback from any of the recruiters you call up, or they give you a generic answer to say like, hey, yeah, you were just like beaten by other applicants that had a stronger resume. And I'm here to highlight or give answers to these questions that you might have. So that's why just ask. Be bold, be brave, and be ready to absorb as much information as you possibly can. So and if you stick with me till the end of the training, you'll get the toolkit with all the resources that I mentioned in this presentation, plus the complete presentation itself. So I hope everybody on this call, and I know chat. So I hope people keep on popping on the chat, or maybe it's not really, maybe there's a technical error, you never know. So, but I hope everybody is with me. So who am I to actually teach you how to write a resume? Because a resume, like I said, there are a million zillion advice about it, and you have so many hits if you say what's the best resume, or how to write a standard resume. If you type that into Google, you have so many articles and responses. So that's why I wanted to go back to the basics of who I am, so you can actually understand the information that I'm sharing, that it's coming from a place like, okay, I try to help everybody on this call today. So I come from Belgium, Antwerp, so city from beer and diamonds and chocolate. And all the negatives that has been in the news we will forget, because it has been quite a very interesting couple of years for the Belgians. So about 10 years ago, I came to Australia, or it's more than 10 years ago, actually. But both in Belgium and in Australia, I worked as a recruiter, and I was one of those crazy recruiters. I'm the one in the red jumper. And just like as a recruiter, you have like so much fun. I know that most of the people don't like recruiters because they haven't got a lot of good experience. I managed on average 10 jobs 10 vacancies at any given moment. And to give you an idea, you receive around 150 applications for every single vacancy you have. So it's quite a lot of resumes you have to shift through. And so basically it's quite cutthroat if you actually look at the process. And to be honest, very early on in my career, I absolutely got obsessed with resumes. And from the start, so as a recruiter, I met all candidates that I would represent and put forward to my hiring managers. And so one of the things I could not get in the beginning was why hiring managers would pick some resumes over another resume, and why they would invite certain candidates. And it wasn't as easy as, oh, they have worked for a competitor, or they have worked in the same industry for a long time. Like, that was not the reason why they got an interview. There was something else that made those resumes stand out. So I really got obsessed in really finding out what the formula was and what made one stand out and not the other. And I got really good in getting that, basically. And when I met a candidate with, to be honest, with a crap resume, and I asked them to make something, some changes, and over again, and both in Belgium, where I recruited like for Europe, and both in Australia, where I recruited for Asia Pacific, and even like for positions in the US, and it worked every single time. So you had a formula, and I don't say that the resume templates that you can find online are absolute rubbish, but it is a formula, it's a combination, and you have to break it down. And when people understood that, and I teach them that, or I taught them that, they could actually make the changes and really make a difference. So to even demonstrate that more, I had one of my candidates was Mark, and he applied basically for every single job I advertised here in Sydney, Australia. So when I was actually last working in agency, I was doing government recruitment, specifically for communications and marketing. And he was a marketing director, or he's a marketing director. And I would post a job and he would apply. And I almost like thought like, okay, I expect his resume. I expect his application. So I think he must have applied, I say 10 times, but it must have been more. So every time when I reject the candidates, I actually like say to them, like, if you have direct number, give me a call. And I know that not a lot of recruiters do that anymore, but you could like ask any of my candidates, you could call me and I would answer, or like I would give you the time to actually talk you through certain things. And to the annoyance of my boss, I was on the phone with candidates all the time. And so when he called me and he said like, look, actually, Caroline, he said, like, I apply for every single job that you advertise. I can do those jobs with my eyes closed, standing on my head, and still a couple of days later, I get a rejection email from you. What do I have to change, or what's wrong? So I opened Mark's resume and I actually went through it with him in detail, and basically I recommended certain changes to his resume. And when he made those changes, he had 4 interviews and 2 job offers, and he had been looking for 4 months. So after the changes, it basically took him 3.5 weeks to land a job that was really suited to him. So I just want to demonstrate with this that actually writing a resume, I'm not a good writer, I'm really bad, and I get comments on my blog posts that there's spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes, and but I can tell you how like the psychology grab that attention. So if you are if English is your first language, you will be fine. So basically, when I was I felt pregnant when I was a recruiter working in an agency, and I thought, okay, I'm going to rethink this whole career thing, and what do I like the most. And I was like, okay, I like candidates the most. So this is my family. It's my young daughter, she's now 18 months, so that's not that long ago, and my son, he's 4 years old. It's absolutely amazing. You don't see my husband, but he is absolutely a gem, so I have to change this slide to incorporate more pictures of him also. So basically, so when I got pregnant, I thought like what I liked. I was like, okay, it's talking to candidates. I did a certificate in coaching, and 4 years ago, I started actually New Horizon Coaching. So, and I helped mainly executives with their resume and how to actually write that six-figure resume, and actually make sure I help them and do a one-on-one workshop with them, which is very successful in general. So basically today, what I noticed, because I'm also working 4 days a week as an HR business partner for a company, and I still am responsible for all the recruitment within our company. So and even today I receive like through them, and when I review a resume, I can see in 1 second what's wrong and why it's not working and what needs to change. And whenever I talk to a candidate, I say like, look, actually, these are the changes you need to make. Here is a template. They make the changes and they can actually see the difference. Whether that is like I can actually put them forward in my business, or they actually see that in other jobs that they have been applying for. So the one thing actually that's standing between where you are now and the job you really want is a standout resume. And it's not just the resume, it's the process you go through of writing your resume, where you actually stop and think about your career history. When is the last time you've done that? Really stop, because people get obsessed by the piece of paper that's your resume, and it is really important, but they don't understand the purpose of your resume or the psychology, because it is your first impression. It is your selling tool. You need to really make that count, and you need to stop, think about, okay, what can I give to an organization? And a lot of people, a lot of my clients actually that I work with a one-on-one, they come to me and they say like, oh, but I'm just like everybody else. And that is so not true. You stop actually really not believing in yourself, because you know you might be good and hardworking and really have certain skills and experience. Your own skills, and you can't be as objective anymore, so because you're too close. So that's why you really need to take the time to craft this document. I'm really passionate about that. I hope you can hear it. All right, so basically today we're going to talk about the 3 secrets. So the first secret, I'm going to talk to you about the resume screening process, and you might wonder why that is important, and I will tell you in a second. The second reason is the 3 biggest resume mistakes almost everyone makes, and I can tell you almost no one talks about it. So I'm going to put it out there, and you actually have the benefits to hear it first from me, who has been in recruitment and HR for such a long time. And the third one, it's a very brief section. It's a proven to work resume formula. Because why is it brief? Because after all of the other things that I'm going to explain to you, that's going to be a very natural progression, and you're going to say, of course, Caroline. So, okay, so we have the 10-second resume screening process. And yes, it is 10 seconds. So I will tell you, you might say it's only recruiters that have 10 seconds, and no, it's not. So who are the 3 people that look at your resume? Think about it. Firstly, it is the hiring manager. Then you have potentially the HR recruiter and agency recruiter. So those are the 3 main people that manager, they look at your resume on their way to work, or actually going home, so on their commute, because they have a full-time job to attend to, so they don't have a lot of time. So if they review your resume, it's very brief, it's very short. Definitely in the first stage, maybe not when they receive a shortlist after it's already been screened by an internal recruiter, because then they know the resumes are of higher quality than actually in the beginning. But if you remember, I receive 150 applications per job. So if I'm a hiring manager and I receive 150 resumes, I don't have too much time to screen through them. So it is going to be quickly, and that's when I need to have a resume that I can really absorb the information very easily. Secondly, you have HR advisors or HR business partners. Again, they have other equally important things to do, like employee engagement, like performance reviews, job descriptions, interviews themselves, and so on. So they see it often, the recruitment process, as a part of their job. So they don't have a lot of time. In an ideal world, you might argue they should read every single letter on my resume cover to cover, but reality is they don't. Maybe you have exceptions, and maybe you do. If you have if you were, people don't actually have the time to do that. And then you have, of course, your agency recruiters. And agency recruiters, let's face it, they're ruthless. They see, like I said, you have like 10 job vacancies at any given moment. For each vacancy, you receive so many resumes. They go through it, and they take a little bit they approach it very impersonal, but it's the way it is. So the 10-second resume screening process is real, and you need to be aware of it, because that will form the foundation of how you approach your resume writing. So basically, what you should know is, in my career, 70% of the resumes are bad, 25% is okayish, and only 5% is outstanding. And those 5% are not resumes from a direct competitors. They can have gaps in their employment, they can have switching industries and jobs. It just actually the way they write the content and the way they structure their resume and address certain concerns. But look at this, because the reason why it is important is because I want to point out here that you have like 70% that's bad, 25% is okayish. You have like only 5% that's outstanding. So that means that so many candidates, if they can do, they have the skills and experience for, but they're just not cutting it. And which actually, this demonstrates that it gives you huge opportunity if you only make changes to the resume that I'm going to teach you today. You're going to actually be better than all the others. So it's really exciting. So I'll give you an overview of how many resumes and applications I receive on average, and this is not that long ago. So like you see the numbers here, and you see an assistant brand manager, 366 application, help desk 182, reception 120 applications. So variety of roles, variety of people actually, that of number of applications that I received for each of them. So to delve even deeper, this is what I do. I sit down with the hiring manager, get a recruitment brief from them. So with the recruitment brief, I mean like what's the salary, what's the stretched salary, but more important, what I find out is, okay, what's your ideal candidate looking like? So your A candidate, what's the B candidate, what's the C? And just get an understanding of, okay, what's in the case we don't receive any applications, what would you be happy with? What's your C candidate, and what's your ideal profile? So, and when I get a better understanding of that, then I advertise, I set up the recruitment. So this is an overview of my inbox, and it's not an application tracking system. It's just my good old Outlook. But you can see in the left bottom there, 366 applications. I go through every single resume and I color code them, who is unsuccessful, who to put forward, who is maybe. So the maybes are the 25%, and the red is like unsuccessfully. And this is only based on their resume. I haven't really met any candidates at this stage. So work with me here. So if I'm very conservative and I only receive 45 applicants, I make a long list of 20 applicants. Those people I call and just qualify their suitability for the role, their salary expectations, and so on. And I make a short list of 5 candidates, and the hiring manager, they cut often the resume, even the short list even more based on my report and based on the resume to the top 3 they invite for an interview. So actually, like, even from 45 till 20, it's more than 50%. So there's a huge opportunity for you to actually get on that long list, get a phone call from an HR, internal recruiter, or external agency recruiter, or the hiring manager, and actually get your story out there. So, and that's why it's important to actually, your resume is your first impression. And like it or not, a resume really, the best analogy that I really love is like, your resume needs to be like a movie trailer. It gives you a snapshot. It gives you an idea if it's a horror, a romance, like what flavor, adventure movie, and it gives you a little bit, but enough to actually say, like, I'm going to go to the movies and see that movie. And basically that's what you have to do with your resume also. Is like, you have to give a flavor of the candidate you are, and then the hiring manager decides whether to invite you for an interview or not. But like, that's basically the purpose of your resume. So what I look for is first layout, flow, and confidence. So I will go deeper in that, but in layout, I mean like the structure of your resume. Like, how is it structured? Is it text heavy? Is it too long? Is it all over the place? You have to face reality here. Is we're all busy people, so are you, and you have to have a clean resume. I need to be able to look at it and in a couple of seconds make a judgment of who you are, how many years experience you have, what problem you solve, and do you have the skills, and do you give me the confidence? So basically those are the 3 things that I'm looking for, and not only me. It's like, you can ask anybody that those are the 3 things that they're looking for. When I say flow, I mean like, it needs to link together. We will go through all the key components general, but it needs to connect. It can't say something in the first part and then something else in the second part. And like I said, most people are too formatty in terms of they have copy paste pieces in their resume, and they actually forget what the essence is. So it needs to be flowing. It needs to be a story. It needs to be logic. Think about it like when you read a book, you want to have like a start, a middle, and an end. So like, it needs to connect. And even though there might be more to the story, it needs to be to the point. Otherwise, you think it's waffling and it's like all over the place. So, and that's what I see with resumes also. It's all over the place. So you need to flow. And confidence is like, most people, they say, oh, Caroline, I haven't done that for like compared to others, not enough, or I don't have enough experience in it. And it's like, okay, if you are not sure yourself, then you're not going to be confident in your resume or in an interview. So you need to give me the confidence. You need to be able to articulate the value that you can bring to the table. Otherwise, what's the point, right? Okay, so let's analyze my favorite resume template here. And basically, my favorite template looks a little bit like that. So you have 5 key components. So first of all, you have a career statement. Second component is a key skills. Component is your career history, and the 5th component is others. And even though I mention it last, it's not doesn't mean that it's not important, because depending of where you are in the world, others can be very important. I will come back to that in a second. So the first part is a career statement. Now, the career statement is basically like 8 to 10 lines, and some people call it the summary, an elevator pitch, and so on. Why is it important? The reason why it's important is because studies have indicated that anybody who reviews your resume spends the most time on top, in the beginning, at the start of your resume. So you want to optimize that and make sure it's very clear. So you want to make sure who you are, what you do, the years of experience, the specializations, the stakeholders you have done, and really the added value you can bring to the table. You want to capture that in there. And it's not something that you can write on the fly. It's something that you really need to spend time thinking about, like how you can actually communicate and articulate that. So the second part is the key skills, and the key skills should be in 2 columns and should be no more than 10 bullet points. Now you can see here I don't have great communication skills, team player, and whatsoever in there, because it is important that the person really contribute to what he says in the career statement. So it really need to be talking to the hiring manager about okay, these are the skills that I need to master to deliver what I actually committed to in my career statement. So the best way to look at this is a career statement is a promise, and then the key skills are the skills that you need to master to deliver on that promise. So then the 4th element is actually your achievements. And your achievements, a lot of people don't write key achievements in there. They freak out a little bit because they think it needs to be like things like winning the Nobel Prize, and really like anything that's really like that. But achievements are really like you prove that you master the key skills that you have mentioned that you need to master to deliver on your promise. So you see how it flows, and that's what you need to create in your resume. So then you have your career history, and career history is really like going to be uh, based on the company you've worked, the key responsibilities you have. But as you can see in the template, it's very like clear cut. It's very clear to the person what you have done. It's not text heavy. It's really very concise. Oh, Nathan, that's a So no, won't we all? Don't we all? So basically, that's a career history. So a couple of elements here is the length of your employment, your mandate, the company culture, the company name, and a little bit of information about them, your key responsibilities, your job title, all those things, but really written in a way that it's very clear to the hiring manager or the recruiter who read your resume. So, and then you have the part that is others, and others can be your languages that you speak. Like if you're from Europe, for example, languages is really important, and you might actually like put that on in the beginning, at the start of your resume. Also education, you might actually want to put that in at the start of your resume, depending on where you are. So basically, you have the 5 key non-negotiable elements, but those 5 non-negotiable elements, they can actually be in different orders, so depending on where you are, but those 5 key elements need to be on your resume at all time. And that's why it's basically so important, because it's a structure that you follow that resonates with hiring managers. It's really clear and clean, and so actually they can really absorb all the information. The secret number 2, the 3 biggest resume mistakes I see almost everyone make, and that's an interesting one. And so that in more detail, I want to actually tell you about one of my other clients that I had, Sarah. And Sarah actually thought it would be a walk in the park getting a new role. So she took a redundancy. A company was moving to Melbourne, and she thought like, okay, I'll take a redundancy, going to look for a new job. She didn't get traction, and she was really frustrated before she came to me. To give you an idea, she sent it more than 80 resumes and only having 2 interviews. So she was not happy with her traction. And so after her and I, we sat together, worked the plan out, made some changes. She had like 2 weeks and 5 interviews later, she accepted a job that really suited her. So it's a token. I want to make clear that writing a resume is like really a process that is so important to go through. So the first big mistake that I see people make all the time is being vague and being just like everyone else. And I will I will give you the career statement as an example, because that is something that most people use. When I talk about career statements, you have to have that in the beginning of your resume. Almost everybody says to me like, oh, yes, I've got something like that on my resume. And these are 3 snapshots of profile or of things that I see all the time. And they really don't cut it anymore. Cut it. So the first one, dynamic and enthusiastic team player with a passion for continuous improvement and a record of high achievement in producing quality work through building and establishing relationships with colleagues. To be honest, it's blah. It doesn't really give me anything, because nobody is going to say I'm actually a lazy backstabbing person. I'm very egocentric, and I really like screw up most of the things that I need to do, and I really like doing nothing and sitting on the toilet till time is over to go home. Like, nobody's going to say that. So the words you use in your career statement or profile or whatever you call it need to mean something. So you have like dynamic and enthusiastic, authentic and engaging, self-motivating. Like, it is good to use those words, but they need to be like really complementing other words and other result driven or tangible things, the skills that you mention in your career statement, rather than just like words that have no meaning to it. So it's really important that you actually get this right. Here are others that I actually like snapped. So things like reliable and hardworking, or tenacious and motivated, like those are really like you use. Let go of a lot of things that actually could be more powerful and mean a lot more than just writing that. Okay, so the second biggest mistake is be everything to everyone. So okay, I'm curious to see who is guilty of listing everything and just like giving verbal diarrhea, and giving like having a resume that's too text heavy and just like mentions everything. Because a lot of people do, they have like skill summaries like this. It's like, wow, it's so overwhelming, and you leave it to the hiring manager, the recruiter, the HR to actually make an assumption. It's like, oh, he knows this and this and this, or therefore he must be able to do this. So you're not taking control over the jobs that you're attracting. You're just putting it out there in hopes that something will stick, which is basically not the way to go. The third mistake is listing everything you can do rather than what you want to do. And that's a big one with people that have like over 5 years or 8 years experience, which are a lot of my clients. They will actually, the best example that I can give you is, for example, one of my clients, he wrote in his career statement, sales director with a strong background in business development. Now, he didn't want to do business development anymore, but he put it out there in his career statement. It's like, okay, you can do business development, but do you still want to do that? He said, no, Caroline, I don't want to do that. I want to do, really think about growth strategies, and I want to be involved in product launches in really different markets and do that competitive analysis to increase our awareness and our product awareness. And so we changed it, and so it made it more high level from the beginning. So he didn't really had to mention it's also business development, but it's business development in a different sense. So the jobs that he actually ended up having offered to him were much more strategic than just business development. So therefore, this is what I mean why it's so important that you actually like make sure that you write what you want to do instead of what you can do, and that you really think about it. So in summary, these are the three things. So like, people are too vague, generic, or cliche, so they just like not using that space, that career summary too well. They list everything to everyone, so it's really text heavy, or they're listing everything they can do rather than what they want to do, and then they're actually surprised that actually they're not getting the jobs that they want. They're attracting other positions. So secret number 3. So I hope you're still with me, and I can see like several people still on the call, so that's good. Hope you're enjoying. Proven to work resume formula. And so, like, if you think about everything that I just mentioned, it shouldn't be a surprise what is really like going to be that formula, because there are only 2 components that make up the perfect resume. And one component is to have a standout layout, it's a structure. And the second component that we haven't touched on today is the content, because a lot of people, they might restructure their resume, because I'm giving away to a lot of people a free resume template, but they're actually not having the content to support it. They're missing the flow, they're missing giving confidence, they don't know how to put their brilliancy on paper, basically. So Nathan has a question. He asks, like, how many words should be on a resume? And it's very interesting. A lot of people, that's most asked question, how long should my resume be? And my answer to that is, the first, it's a long-winded answer, sorry, Nathan. The first page, if you follow that structure, it's going to be your sales page, and then it doesn't matter, because you convince people already on the first page that you're the candidate that they're interested in. Like I said, it's like a trailer of a movie. You see a trailer and mind that you want to see the movie or not. So, and that's actually the same for your resume. They review it, they don't read it cover to cover. So the length of your resume, in Australia, to give you a rule of thumb, if you really want, in Australia, a resume can be on average 2.5, 3 pages long. In Europe, it's like more to 2 pages long, and in the US, it's 1 page long. So it doesn't really matter how many words you have. It's what you do with those words, and you not focus on really the word count. It's like when you're reading everything. Have you ever read a book that's really really difficult, and you struggle to get through it, even though everybody's saying it's a good book? You want to move on with your, like, to the next page. And that's what you need to do with your resume. Engage them, write compelling content about what you can bring to the table, and you can do that in a one pager. I work with so many US clients who only can have all their brilliancy in one pager, and they succeed. So they don't need, even though they might have 10 years experience, they captivate the audience to actually, like, start intrigue, and say, like, oh, this is an interesting candidate, I will invite him, or at least I will give him a call. And then you can actually start the rest of your conversation. Here in Australia, like I said, there's longer. Do I read the last page of a resume? No. Do my hiring managers read the last page? No. But some candidates feel like, I have to write down what I've done 10 years ago. And to be honest, nobody really gives a crap about what you have done 10 years ago. And I have another question. I will say, like, for anybody that has a resume and that wants to go back more than 6 years, they are not going to pay you the salary that you want today based on what you have done 6 years or 10 years ago. So you have to really think about, like, okay, if people review my resume, then it needs its first impression, first page, that's most important. The rest needs to be supporting, but I can't stress enough about the first page. All right, so let's recap what we discussed today, because we have a lot of things done. So we discussed the 10-second resume screening process. We discussed the 3 biggest resume mistakes, and we discussed the proven format. So I want you to reflect for a moment and really think about, okay, do I now feel further away and feeling like totally overwhelmed, or are you determined to actually get this done and really restructure your resume? And I also want you to think about, okay, really the next question. You have all this information. How can I action this, and how can I how can I take this a step further? Because I want your resume transformation to get you multiple interviews and ultimately job offers, because that's why you may have a resume. It's not because you wake up one day in the morning and you say, I want to have a fancy resume. You want to have, like, a resume that converts in interviews, and that actually that will lead you to have the job that you really want. And so you have 2 choices. You have the choice to actually take what you have learned today and try to implement it all on your own, or you can actually go further with me and actually, like, sign up for the course that I have. The course that I'm having, that I created, is called the Ultimate Resume Transformation course. And the reason I did it is because I've been asked the same questions over and over and over again. And I wanted to create something that was really easy for people to access. So like I said, I work one-on-one with clients that want to have a 6-figure salary, or that are on a 6-figure salary, and that want to, just like, it's a highly competitive market and want to stand out. I bundled all of that information and made that available for everybody that's looking for a professional resume. So just to give you a very short overview, you have 5 modules. Those are the 5 modules that actually cover over. So it's a career statement, it's a key skills, it's like how to convert tasks into key achievements, how do I write a career history, and how do I position the other elements in the best possible way. And I even thought, like, what else that you need, and I included a collection of tested and proven swipe file of skills and knowledge to make it more easier in module 2. When you pick your key skills, I've just given them to you, so you just have to highlight them. I also, like, go through a specific resume teardown where you actually know why that works and how to apply the same techniques to your own resume, and power words. Because even though I hate the fact when people actually just use buzzwords and power words everywhere, but they are, when you work, when you use them very effectively, they're very powerful to insert. So all of that, I actually just have that for 79 Australian dollars instead of 197. It's very a giveaway, so it's an online course that anybody can go through. So just like some results that other professionals gave, I just copy and paste them. You can just see, like, we have a senior commercial analyst that actually transformed her entire resume in only a few hours and got secured 3 interviews for the next week. We have there was a US girl, Alicia, that actually was looking through, went binge watched all my videos. Have received a company that got back to her in the US. She went for a highly competitive role. Another guy that works as an HCEC manager that actually was writing that recommendation for me, and he just got to attend, was just received a call to write another interview. So and he did not have any writing skills. Another person was a customer engagement analyst and a CIO. So people from all over the world, all different experiences, have done this, have really benefited from it. And so actually that makes a real difference. So, and like I said, this is by far the easiest and most effective way to write a really winning resume, and it's already proven to get results for others. So it's definitely something that will get results for you too. And as a special offer before we go to Q&A, I want to say, if you sign up in the next 24 hours for the course, I will do a free resume review and LinkedIn review, which is absolutely worth so much more. Like I said, I work with executives. They pay quite a lot of money for me to help them out. So I'm actually because I'm so appreciative from the time that you spent today with me, listening to me and really absorbing all the information. It is. So if you sign up in the next 24 hours, I'll completely do a resume critique for you and a LinkedIn profile critique, so you can actually, after the course, get real feedback. So so basically, I received a couple of questions from people. One of the questions is, I really struggle writing about myself. And so basically, a lot of people struggle writing about themselves. It is by just starting out, and maybe you might find it very uncomfortable in the beginning, but if you follow the process, like for example that I have in the course, you actually are going to find it very objective, because you actually go through the specific steps that you need to do. And writing about yourself, it doesn't become writing about yourself, it's just writing what you actually, the skills that you have. So it's not about blowing your own trumpet or giving yourself a pat on the back. It's about really understanding what you can bring to the table, and really making sure that you get there and give people actually that right that you do justice to yourself. You have certain skills and experience, and if you don't do that, you will be not able to compete with others, and you will miss out on amazing opportunities and really getting paid what you're worth. So time to actually get that right on paper. Another question I received was, I was thinking of hiring a resume writer, and a lot of people think like, oh my God, this is a solution. Pay, I know, between anything between $99 and 300, $500 that you pay for a resume writer, depending on the level that you're at and the quality of the resume writer. And they come back with an awesome resume. Like but there's a big but. It's just a bunch of words on paper. Like I've seen so many I have sat into so many interviews where people had like an awesome resume, but they weren't able to talk to the resume in an interview. So, like the whole purpose, they were struggling to get job offers, or why am I not getting an offer? Why am I not getting second interviews? Is because you haven't really reflected on your own on your own career. So you just cut corners by having a professional resume writer writing the resume. So yes, there is a place for resume writers, but if you want to really get the confidence to nail a job interview, you have to go through this process of writing a resume that you have mastered to yourself, because that is really that is going to be the key to your success, not only in an interview but also in a negotiation and in a performance review. You're going to be able to articulate clearly your added value is. And another question that I had, I think it was just sent in earlier today. I don't have it in front of me, so Nathan, I think it was a question from you. I believe it was that you wanted to increase your ratio of your resume once you send it to recruiters, and or send it to your hiring managers. And so my answer to that would be is yes. So first of all, if you want to increase your ratio, you have to make sure your resume clearly states your value, because a bunch of pretty words on paper is really not going to cut it, because you're going to compete with all the other candidates that actually have also pretty words on paper. So you need to actually really come from a place where you understand what value you can bring to them and what you actually like have to contribute. So basically, like, think about that and really like write a resume coming from the place of like, okay, this is my what I specialize in. This is the value that I have to add to a business, and these are the things why they should choose me above others. And like I said, like most people just wing it and write a bunch of nice words on paper, but that is not going to get you highly competitive roles or roles that you really, really want. If you're just looking for roles that are just mediocre and just want to a million zillion times and just apply for roles, but if you really want to get the roles that you think you deserve and really want to position yourself right, I know it's possible and I've seen it time and time again, then you can do it. On that note, I will tell you a story of one of my clients who was a candidate at at the time when I was working in a recruitment agency. She called me and she said, like, look, Caroline, I'm really like applied for this job. It's perfect for me. It's actually like exactly what I'm looking for, but they're not calling me back. I have the experience. I worked for a competitor. What's wrong with me? So basically, I looked at her resume and asked her to make the changes that I teach in the course now, and so they did. And basically, they got results. They got an interview. They got really like the perfect articulation, the perfect resume, and they got the job that they really, really wanted. So it's just a combination of really articulating yourself clearly on your resume, being confident or showing confidence, even if you might be shaking in your boots. It's about like giving that impression and getting yourself to the next stage, because that's the purpose of your resume. It's getting you from sending your resume to going to the interview to then getting the job. And that's basically should be. One last note about somebody, something that somebody sent in, a question about finding the jobs, and I can tell you, you might have the best resume ever. The best resume and a crap job search strategy is not going to really get you anywhere. So yes, having a resume is really, really, really important, and having a standout resume is going to get you to the next level. But you have to know how job search. You need to know how job searching works, and actually you need to know how to actually understand how you have to navigate that, and that's a whole other topic. But first of all, the reason you're here is for your for your resume. So get that right, and then we move to the job searching. So this is me. Hi guys. I hope my voice actually was okay today, because I'm getting down with a cold, and I was thinking I have two little monkeys like you saw, and they're all both sick, and they're giving it nicely to me, and I was thinking like, oh, should I cancel tonight, because my voice is really like getting husky. So but I'm glad I did it, and I hope it gave you some value about, okay, what do I have to do next, and hope you join the course. Like dollars, which and I give you, if you in the next 24 hours, I will give you a free resume review and LinkedIn review. So that is worth so much. I can't tell you. So I hope this helped, and have a lovely evening. And if you have any questions afterwards, I would say like email me, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. So thank you again, and I see you later. Bye bye.